Well, that was Antonio Vivaldi's concerto for two violin in D minor, RV 514. It's the third movement. Giuliano Campagnola was the violinist there. Vittoria Malova also on violin, and together with the Venice Baroque Orchestra there. Well, I'm delighted to welcome on the line Karen Moss. She's the founder and director of Steps Charity, and Steps is all about clubfoot care. Welcome to you, Karen.
Thank you.
Oh, now you're breaking up there. Let's just that's better. That's better.
I think it was just my cordless phone.
Okay. All right. What do we do? Yes. We're so well connected, but not really. Just explain what Steps is all about and why it was started.
Well, Steps was started as a process after my own son was born with clubfoot in 2003.
Yes.
At the time, there was really the only option for clubfoot was quite a major surgery, and having it in both feet, I was naturally very worried about, the long-term effects of having this kind of surgery. And after doing some research on the internet when he was about 2 months old, I discovered this method that had actually been in existence already for over 50 years. It was being done in the University of Iowa by a Spanish doctor. He was an orthopedic surgeon. And I contacted him, and very quickly after that, my husband and I were flying to Iowa with our little boy, and within 3 weeks, we were just astounded at the results that he had achieved without any surgery.
Is that so? Gosh.
Yes.
And he's Dr. Ponsetti, isn't that right?
That's correct.
And you've brought his process back here to South Africa, is that right?
I have. When I met him, he said that he had obviously been working in the surgical field for many, many years, and his method hadn't really been taken on by his peers. And he said that what had happened, he was 89 when I met him, was that mothers had actually had become so inspired by the results for their feet, that their kids had been flown to Iowa to be treated from all over the world. But I was the first South African that had been there, and he encouraged me to go home and start telling the doctors and showing them my son's feet and seeing if I could get them to change the way that they were treating clubfoot. And I realized soon after that, even though I'd had positive response from a few doctors, that we needed more structure, and that's when I started Steps, which was when my son was 2.
Yes.
We started it as a non-profit, and then started training doctors in 2006.
Okay. How prevalent is this condition?
Well, it's a pity that a lot of countries still don't do complete data on clubfoot, but based on studies, we work on 1 in 500 children. So in South Africa, we have a higher incidence in our population. No one really knows what causes clubfoot.
They don't.
They've done genetic studies. There is a genetic component, but the actual cause hasn't been determined yet. It's not to do with any conditions during pregnancy, anything the mother does, but it's something like a recessive gene and combined with environmental causes that actually starts the clubfoot to develop. And so we work on about 2,000 children a year born in South Africa. The reality is that there are actually more because some come across the borders, for treatment.
Yes. I'm just assuming that the earlier that you treat this, the better, because I'm assuming that the bones of the young are more malleable.
Yes, exactly. In fact, babies' bones are almost like chicken cartilage. They're soft and their tendons are, although clubfoot is a rigid foot, a lot of people say, oh, my baby's feet were turned in when he was born and I just massage them. But a clubfoot is not like that. It's a stiff foot.
Yeah.
So it needs very careful manipulation. But by using the Ponsetti method, you're encouraging the foot to stretch into a different position. And what they do is they cast the foot every week, and then that stretches all the tendons and moves the bones slightly, because the ankle bones are actually turned almost upside down as the foot turns in while the baby's developing.
Yes.
And what actually happens after that is that you have quite a quick result. Within about 6 weeks, the foot is straight. The problem is that because the foot's so malleable, there's still a chance for it to recur.
Okay.
So that's when the child goes into a special brace that maintains it and keeps the tendons nice and stretched while they sleep.
Yeah, and much better to do that earlier on.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because the sooner you can get a child into that routine,
Sure.
the easier. Obviously, you know, we deal with a lot of clinics now where the kids are only getting there late, and it can still be corrected, but
Yes.
it's much more hard for the parents.
Sure. Just tell me, so STEPS has been operational since when?
Oh, it's almost 12 years. We celebrate our 12th birthday next month.
And
yes.
and the results of you bringing this Ponseti method over here?
Well, we've actually had incredible results. We literally, the method is taught now in every medical school. We partner with 26 different clinics around South Africa.
Yeah.
All the orthopedic surgeons have chosen it as the gold standard method, and it's best practice. And you know, it's very rare to still find anyone still doing clubfoot surgery. There still are outlying areas, and the people who still aren't treating it exactly the right way. But that's changing as we get the message out.
Yes. So you have been training healthcare professionals under the auspices of STEPS. And what are you looking to do now? Because I was just looking at the figures, something like 2,000 babies are born in South Africa with clubfoot,
Yes.
and another plus or minus 3,000 in neighbouring countries. And what you were saying previously, that they're coming in.
Yes.
What are you looking to do? Because that's a huge number of children.
It is a lot of children.
Yeah.
Well, we expanded into Namibia and Botswana in 2013, so that was quite easy for us to manage because they don't have a particularly big population, although it had to be run through the Ministry of Health. So there was a lot of, procedures that had to be gone through to get that going. But
which is fair enough, isn't it?
Yes, of course it is, because it makes it more sustainable.
Of
because,
course.
you know, if the people accept it and you get buy-in, then, and actually there's 3 clinics running in Botswana and 3 in Namibia, and we still support them, we consult and help them, but we're trying to get them to run it more on their own, which they're very keen to do.
Yes.
And it's still supported by some South African surgeons that will go out and do outreach visits to them.
Yes.
There's another clubfoot organization working in Zimbabwe and another one in Mozambique. So we collaborate quite a lot with other organizations, and we also supply clubfoot braces to the clinics, which was one of the biggest risks of failure of the treatment, was not having the brace, because then you'd get relapses. So that's another part of what we do.
What are you looking for? Are you looking for income, for finances?
Yes. What we'd like to do, we're pretty well established now with supporting clinics in the main centres, and we're trying to expand into Mpumalanga, Limpopo, Eastern Cape, the more rural areas that traditionally aren't as well supported through the health system.
Yes.
And we're currently reaching about 50% of children born every year. And the way we reach them is to make sure there's trained doctors in the hospital, make sure the clinics are fully equipped. We have parent educators that go in to support the parents, because it's a 4-year process of wearing the brace. I wrote a parent education program which is in about 8 or 9 languages, which we give leaflets, we've got videos. So there's a lot of
work,
advocacy and support that we do.
Huge.
So it's and all the help that we can get financially would be, would only go. In fact, all our program costs for our running costs are covered. So anything we get allows us to expand now.
Wonderful. And can we mention who covers you then in all of this?
Yes, so Remgrow was a sponsor for the last 3 years. They've just finished their cycle of donation. We've had support from Nedbank. I'm just trying to think offhand. There's quite a few donors that have been incredibly supportive, Protea Hotels and the Marriott Group. And, what we would really love to have is one large corporate that gets involved with us for about 3 years and works with us, so that we can take advantage of, all their expertise as well.
Yes.
We're working a lot on our profile, and, we've recently updated our logo, and we've been doing a lot of PR and just to get the word out, not only for money, to get the word out that clubfoot can be treated successfully.
Yes.
So it's a 2-pronged approach.
Yes, I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who really don't realise the possibilities, and this is, not easily rectified, but it is rectifiable, and you are doing the most amazing job there. So, Karen, how do people get hold of you? And you've got a website, yes?
Yes, our website is www.steps.org.za, so it's steps.org.za, and we run in Cape Town as our main office, but we've got people working around the country, so they could call us at our office if they wanted to get involved. I can give you the number now, or you can put
Yes, do give us the number.
021 462 7357. And then they can also email us on info@steps.org.za.
Okay. And those children who don't receive treatment, are they able to walk, or what happens to them?
No. Unfortunately, if clubfoot's not treated, the person is actually disabled for life. They walk on the top of their feet. I'm sure there's people that have been in African villages, maybe even in South Africa, you will still see adults, where their foot is literally turned upside down, and they develop calluses on the top of their foot, which is now where the bottom of their foot would be.
Yes.
So, growing up like that, you are just so disadvantaged. And, with this early intervention, really, we do say we change children's lives, because it sounds like a cliche, but it's from disability to complete mobility, and for a rural child, they can walk to school, they can do, they can do all this kind of activities that the other kids are doing without any disability at all. Yeah,
it's a great vision to have that you have, Karen Morris. Thank you so much for chatting to us. And just to remind everybody, the website to have a look at Steps, STEPS, or this is your Twitter handle, lowercase hyphen SA, and it's www.steps.org.za. Thank you so much for chatting today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Take care.
And you too.